Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and every couple of weeks I collect a bunch of tech that I found on Amazon and do a tech haul video, and I've got another box of stuff here to check out. A lot of it's actually pretty good this time. So we're going to take a look at everything that's in this box in just a second. I do though want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that most of these things came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. A few of the items came in from the manufacturers, and I'll point those out as we walk our way through the video here. All the opinions, though, you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. And I know in the prior videos I haven't mentioned pricing on a lot of these items. That's because Amazon affiliate rules don't allow for that, but also because the prices on this stuff change quite frequently. So in the video description, you'll see a link that will take you to all the items together in one spot so you can see pricing. Let's get to it. Now, this first item actually surprised me. This is from a company called Neweer, and Razer has something similar to this. This is, I'll give you my overhead view, a cooler for your phone, and it consists of a fan and a heat sink, and then you plug it in to a USB power source. Now, in addition to cooling your phone, it will also charge your phone wirelessly. This will attach to the back of an Apple phone with Magsafe. It just links right up there. But if you have an Android phone, they have a piece of metal here you can stick to the back of your phone so that it will stick to that. So it works with both Android and iOS, but on the iPhone side it'll be a little bit easier. Now I'm going to plug this thing in because what surprised me about this device is that it is more than just a simple fan and heat sink. Let me get it connected to power and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, now that it's connected to power, I'm going to switch it on here and the fan will start spinning and the multicolored LED will start going. It looks pretty cool in the dark, actually. Now, one of the things that I noticed with this, even before I put the phone on it, is that as it was booting up here, I noticed the bottom getting noticeably cooler than the top. In fact, I'm starting to feel some hot air coming off the fan, yet it's not connected to anything. And as it turns out, this has a Peltier cooler built in, which actually works as a little heat pump. So what it does is it draws heat away from the bottom and it puts it out through the top. And so this part here gets super cold. In fact, earlier I measured it at about 26 degrees or so Fahrenheit, so well below freezing once this thing has been up and running for a while, which is really neat. So it will keep your phone cool. The problem, though, is that if you're in a very humid place and your phone is done charging, you're just kind of leaving it on, what I'm concerned about is that it's going to get so cold that you're going to start to see condensation developing on this, which might be problematic for your phone and for the charger. In fact, right now we're in the middle of the winter where it's really, really dry in this house, yet I was getting some moisture building up on the back of the cooler because it got so cold. So it really does a good job cooling. But just be aware that that coldness will come with some condensation if you're in a humid environment. Now when I attach my phone here, you can see that it started charging. They don't recommend laying it flat, but it does work as a stand, as you can see here. So it will keep the phone cool and keep everything flowing nicely here while you're charging or whatever. Also, as you can see, it puts your iPhone into its clock mode when you have it oriented this way. And then, of course, if you flip it around the other way, it's back to being a normal phone again. So neat little cooler here from Neweer. Now there's a couple of controls on it. You can adjust the fan speed. You can also turn the LED off. You can also turn the charging component on and off as well. So pretty cool stuff. I know Razer's got something similar to this, but I think this one is going to be less expensive. And a nice surprise here to see how this cooling function works, because oddly they didn't mention this Peltier effect in the marketing materials, but I noticed it when I first turned it on. Neat stuff. All right, next up is a charging bank that, in full disclosure, came in free of charge from Lenovo. They were giving these away at CES. And this is available in two varieties, a 20,000 milliamp hour and a 10,000 milliamp hour. And that just refers to the capacity of the battery. Now, this is kind of neat because it has multiple ways in which you can use it as a charger. So, for example, I can put my phone down on top of it and get a Qi charge wirelessly, but I can also simultaneously detach the USB-C cable here that's built right into it and plug it into a phone directly. So I can charge my iPhone here and then at the same time have my Android phone charging on the charger as well, and it will do both at the same time. The maximum power output on this is 30 watts, so it will split the charge based on what is drawing from it and how much power it needs. And in addition to the Qi and the built-in cable, it also has another USB-C connector on here too, so you could conceivably charge 3 devices at the same time off of its internal battery. And then when you need to charge the charger, you just plug it in with this cable or plug into the USB-C. It's very flexible in how you get power in and out of it, but I thought a very nice portable charger. It's got the cable built right in, and it might be kind of handy if you need a charger that can do more than one device at a time. And speaking of charging, here is another option for charging devices that support Apple MagSafe. This is a 3-in-1 charging station, and it's got 3 wireless chargers built in. This is not perfect. I've been playing around with it the last couple of days, but it made the cut because I do think it might have some utility for some folks. Now, there's 2 ways to use this. You can have it lay flat here and get your charge going that way. You can also have it prop up, so you can put it on a nightstand or something. Now, you'll notice here that it's got a spot for an Apple Watch. You've got your main charging mechanism, and you've got another charger down here. Now, when it's flat, you charge on this pad, and then when you put it into its stand-up mode here, that glossy part flips around and becomes the base, but this part will charge as well. So then you just get it kind of dialed in like that and connect all your devices to it. Now, my only gripe with this is that the watch charger's magnet is not very strong. So you have to make sure you get your watch down on it, and you kind of have to push it down to keep it in place. And if you knock it a little bit, it'll kind of push itself up again. So this could have been a little stronger on the magnet side, but the rest of it works pretty nicely. It is kind of cool to see the charging coil and the magnets here. It's a clear case, and if you attach your phone here, it starts charging. I can, of course, do our flipperoo here and have it work in its clock mode. So all that works. And then the lower charger here also works. This is designed for headphones and that sort of thing, but you can also use it as a regular charger. So if I get rid of the cable here, my Android phone should see the Qi charger here and start charging. So this is kind of designed more for MagSafe devices, but again, there's ways to get MagSafe connectivity on Android phones. I did review this thing a little while back. This is the Snap 4 Lux, and this works with Android phones and basically would stick to this just as well as the Apple's native MagSafe will. So neat little charger if you're looking for something portable. It's easily get you there, and you can put it in your bag. It folds up pretty nicely here, and you are off and running with all of your devices. And I forgot to mention here that the phone charger will max out at 15 watts. You get 5 watts out of the rear charger and 2.5 watts for the watch portion. And speaking of watch charging, check out this little guy I stumbled across. This is the iWatch wireless charger, and this is like a little USB-C dongle that will charge your Apple Watch. They even have an adapter here to go from USB-C to USB-A, and it is exactly what it looks like here. It's just a little dongle here. I'll bring my MacBook over, and if I attach it to the side and then grab my watch wherever I put it here, the watch will stick to it and start charging. In fact, the magnet on here is a little better than the one we just saw on the other charger. But it's kind of handy to have this. It's really easy to carry that around with you. You can stick it in your bag and pop it into your computer when you're on a break or something, or you could attach it to a power bank. So if you're looking for something a little more portable for a watch charger, here you go. Now, next up, we've got 2 items that are trackable through Apple's Find My network, similar to AirTags. This first item is a wallet stand that, in full disclosure, came in free of charge from ESR, the manufacturer. This is called the HaloLock, and on the surface, it's one of these wallets that attaches to the back of your phone. You can fit a credit card or 2 in here, and then you can have it fold out to be a stand. So if you're on a plane, you can flip it around here and get yourself into a nice viewing mode, and then, of course, flap it back down here and have your wallet always attached to your phone via MagSafe. Now, the other thing this has, though, is the ability to work with the Apple Find My network. So if you lose the wallet, it will ping just like an AirTag will, provided you make sure you turned it on first. There is a switch on it. So if I push it down here, you'll hear it beep to shut off here, and then I can hit it again to turn it back on. And then you pair it up with the other item option inside of the Apple Find My app, and the other device we're going to look at in a second does the same thing. Now, this has a battery, but it's rechargeable. Unfortunately, though, they have a proprietary cable to charge it with. So the other end here is USB-C, but this end is its own little magnetic connector. I would say you probably need to charge it up every month or two, if not longer. The charge should last a good long while, but it's nice to see that you can recharge it because, of course, it's all stitched in there. So not spectacular, but if you are someone who carries a wallet around with you, this might be a nice way to do it. Now, the other item we have in this category is this one. This is called the MoMax Pincard, and this is another Find My network compatible device. I'm seeing a lot of these now, but this one is a little different because it is an IP68 weatherproof device. It's all sealed up here, as you can see, and you can attach it to your luggage or do whatever with it. They don't, though, have anything to run through the little hole here that I can see in the box, but you can find something, I'm sure, to do that with. Now, what's interesting about this one is that because it is sealed, you obviously can't charge it with a cable, but apparently this is rechargeable over a Qi charger, so let's see if it does in fact charge via Qi. All right, I've got it paired up with my phone here, and this does appear as an other item inside of the Find My app. And I also brought back out the Qi charger that I looked at earlier, and check it out. We got a green light here to indicate that we're charging, and the charger is also indicating that a charge is being sent to the device wirelessly. So that is really cool. So every couple of weeks maybe, just throw it down on the charger and you're good to go. The battery indicator here says that we had a full charge when we started, so I don't think you'll have to charge it all that often, but really neat to have something fully encapsulated. You don't have to go buy batteries for it. Just plop it on a Qi charger and you are good to go. I'm going to play a sound on it real quick so you can hear what that sounds like. So not bad. The only difference between something like this, a third-party device, and the official Apple one is that you can't get that location finding that the Apple device does. So this will show you on a map where it is, but the Apple device will actually allow you to hone in on it like a homing beacon. This one doesn't let you do that, but beyond that, it's pretty much the same thing as an Apple AirTag, yet fully encased and encapsulated. Cool stuff. Now, this next item barely made the cut, but I think it might have some utility if you have a bunch of old cassettes that you might have recorded and you want to convert them over to a digital format. This is called the Reshow Cassette Converter, and this will take your audio cassettes and play them back through a USB-C connection. Unfortunately, it is not a very high quality device. There are some concerns that I have, namely one being that there is a speaker, which, as many of you know, have magnets in them, which is right near where your tape goes, and it doesn't hold the tapes in all that nicely. The mechanism feels really cheap. I would say similar to maybe those $10 or $15 cassette players you'd buy back in the 80s. It'll run off of batteries, two AA's here, but you can also connect it to a computer or other device via its USB-C connector and power it that way. The manufacturer recommends that you do not have batteries installed while you connect it to USB. Now, what the USB will do is allow you to output the audio coming from the cassette through the USB-C port into a computer so you can convert the audio over. And although this lacks all of the fancy noise reduction you'll have in a fancy tape recorder, if you have some tapes that you recorded when you were a kid, this will, I think, be good enough to get your tapes transferred over with minimal fuss. They do recommend that you download Audacity, which is a great piece of software for working with audio, but it shows up as a standard USB input. So just about anything that you have that can record USB audio will work with this. Let me plug it in real quick and I'll show you a little bit more. So this is the kind of tape that I think you might want to use this device for. This is some on-hold music from 2007 from my old job. We had this device that would digitize this tape and then loop it into our phone system. So I'm going to pop it into the player here, and we're going to play it for about 5 or 10 seconds, and then I'll have more to say afterward. Have a listen.
Safety zone. Someone will be with you shortly. Are you looking for cotton gloves? Our abundant selection of cotton gloves include jersey, canvas, terry, string, hot mills, and...
So it does accomplish the goal of getting audio into your computer with a USB cable from a cassette tape. The problem is, as you heard, the quality isn't great. As you can hear, the mechanism doesn't run at a stable speed, so that impacts the quality of the audio. Definitely not something I would recommend for music, but if you've got some tapes of you goofing off as a kid with a tape recorder, this might be a quick and easy way to get that audio captured. But for the best quality, you'll want to use a higher quality cassette deck and just run the cable out to your computer's audio input. Now, in addition to the USB options here, you also have a headphone jack, and then this jack here is an audio input because you cannot send audio from the computer back to the tape player here over USB. You have to use the analog connection here to get it back in there. And even the manufacturer says the audio quality isn't good. There's a microphone on here, but this is as bad as you think it sounds. So I think the real utility for this is just capturing tapes quickly and easily. And if you can find this for a cheap price, go for it. But don't be expecting a lot of high quality out of this because this is about as low quality as it gets. And the only thing it's got going for it is that USB output. So we're going to go from tapes now to DVDs and CDs. This is the external optical drive. That is all it is labeled as. And here is that external optical drive. This is exactly what you think it is. It is a USB-based DVD reader and writer. And I've got a couple of blank DVDs here that we can try to write to, along with a movie that we can attempt to watch. And what this has on the other end is a dual cable here. You can plug it into USB-C or to USB-A. I've got my MacBook plugged in here, so we're going to attach it to that real quick. And what I'm going to do is pop in the Phantom Menace on DVD here. This won't do Blu-rays, but it will play CDs and DVDs. And to my surprise, the Mac operating system still supports DVD playback in addition to other formats here as well. So I'm going to pop that disc in as you saw here, and it immediately pops up the viewer here for us to watch the movie. So how about that? The DVD player is still built in to the Mac OS, and presumably this would also work on the Windows side. So it looks like playback is definitely doable here. We've got the movie starting up, and we could watch it right now off of the drive. Let's take a look now, though, and see how it writes to DVDs. All right, I found this blank DVD-R. We're going to pop that in the drive here and close it up. And what should happen here on this Mac is that this should show up as a writable disk inside of the Finder. And we'll just give it a second here to spin up. There we go. We got our option for that. And we're going to hit OK here. And now you can see I can write to this. I'm just going to open this up into a new tab. And what I'm going to do is just copy over this 2.5 gigabyte file here. And then we'll go ahead and initiate the burn. We'll just call this test. And we'll have it burn at the maximum possible speed here. So I'm going to let this write itself out. And when it's done, we'll see if it was successful in getting this video file put on this disk. All right, so we were able to get the file written out to disk. I forgot how long it takes to burn a DVD. I haven't burned one in years, but this 2.5 gigabyte file took about 20 minutes or so to get written to the disk here. And as you can see, the file is all here. The one mistake I made was that this file was encoded at about a 40 megabit per second bit rate at 4K, and this player can't play back at that rate of speed. DVDs were fine. I did play a couple of DVDs earlier off of it, including that Star Wars movie that we loaded up at the outset. Just this file, given that it's a more modern bit rate, just isn't capable of playing back properly on here. But the file is there. I could copy it off to something, and we would be good to go. So this is a great way to burn some CDs and DVDs. Apparently it is compatible with -Rs and +Rs. I did load up this dual layer disk earlier. It did recognize it. Along with the full 8.5 gigabytes, it could write to it. So I think this will be a pretty handy player. I would say its utility these days probably lies more in the ability to read discs. So it will read CDs and DVDs. And if you've got old software kicking around, or you've got some music CDs that you want to rip, this might be one way to get it done. And of course, you can write to it if you need to as well, if you happen to have any kind of writable disk kicking around. I haven't written a disk in a long time, so it was kind of fun to see if those features still worked on modern platforms here. This will work on computers, Mac and Windows and Linux. Mobile devices might be hit or miss, so Android probably won't work, nor will iPhones. But again, if you got a computer kicking around with a USB port, you can very inexpensively add a CD and DVD drive to the mix here. And our last item today is this one from Belkin. This is their Connect USB 6-in-1 GaN Dock. Now, this is a docking station, a USB-C docking station, and why I found this of interest is because it is rather portable. So normally you would expect a docking station to include the dock and then a much larger power supply. This has it all built in. It will send 96 watts to the computer, and then you get gigabit Ethernet, HDMI out. This is also equipped with 2 USB-A ports and a USB Type-C, and your computer plugs in over there. So a very portable power supply that doubles as a docking station, so you can do more with it. So let me plug it into my MacBook here and we'll see how it works. All right, so we got everything connected now. Remember, the power supply is built in. It is powering my Mac right now. We've got gigabit Ethernet connected. I've got my HDMI hooked up here, and I also connected up an external SSD to see how fast everything goes. And what you're seeing here is the video output coming out of that HDMI. It does support HDMI 2.0, so it'll get you 4K at 60 Hertz. This is the Ethernet test here. It looks like we're pretty much getting the full gigabit speed out of that Ethernet adapter, and we'll let that finish up here as it continues to run. One thing to note on the USB ports before we get to the drive test here in a second is that this is running at USB 3.2 Gen 1 speeds, so you're not going to get the 10 gigabits per second out of those USB ports, just 5. And as you can see here, the test that we're running on the hard drive is indicative of that bandwidth. So not terribly fast on the USB drives, but good enough for plugging in an external drive for more casual kinds of data transfers, as you can see here, and certainly fine for keyboards and mice and other lower bandwidth peripherals. But if you're looking for a small docking station that doesn't have a power brick, this might be worth considering because the dock is the brick. Good stuff. And because this is USB-C and not Thunderbolt, it'll have greater compatibility, so it should work with most computers and tablets and phones that support power in, video out, and data devices to work over a single cable. So we saw quite a bit this time. I think we had a lot of good stuff actually, and I've got more on the way. So check out my previous hauls. I've got a few more in the hopper here as well. So more to come, and I hope you enjoyed taking a look at quite an array of different types of gadgets. I'm going to go find something to stick this thing to, and until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Brian Parker, Budley, Hot Sauce and Video Games, Steve Green, and Amda Brown. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.